The morning sun was already burning over the dusty outskirts of the city when Arman Halim signed a crumpled paper that barely looked legal, buying a worn-out $100 car that most people wouldn't even consider scrap. The paint was faded like old memories, the engine coughed like it had given up on life years ago, and the seats smelled of oil and neglect. But to Arman, a single father who had been fighting silent battles for years, it wasn't junk. It was hope on four wheels. What he didn't know was that this simple decision would soon turn into a storm of judgment, destiny, and a miracle worth millions. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that touch the heart, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Single Dad Empire so we can keep bringing you powerful emotional journeys like this. Arman wasn't buying the car for luxury or pride. He was buying it because every morning he walked nearly 10 kilometers to reach his job at a small warehouse while also taking care of his 6-year-old daughter, Inia. Her school was on the other side of town, and buses were unreliable and expensive. He had learned to survive on hope, patience, and exhaustion. The car, even in its broken state, meant he could save time, protect his daughter from long walks under harsh sun, and maybe, just maybe, build a little stability in their fragile life. But life has a strange way of testing dignity before offering relief. When Arman drove the rusted car through the neighborhood for the first time, people didn't see effort or struggle. They saw failure. Whispers followed him like shadows. Some laughed openly, pointing at the rattling engine. Others mocked the idea that a man like him could even own a car. Among them was a woman named Surina Kahlo, a local influencer known more for her sharp opinions than her kindness. Standing near a cafe, she filmed the car with a smirk, making a cruel remark that someone like Arman should know his place instead of pretending to own something beyond his reach. That moment, captured and shared, spread across small social circles like wildfire, turning Arman into a joke he never agreed to be part of. But what no one saw was Inia sitting in the passenger seat, clapping softly every time the engine managed to start without dying. To her, it wasn't a broken machine. It was her father's victory. Days passed, and the mockery faded into background noise, but something unusual began happening in silence. The car, despite its appearance, responded differently in Arman's hands. He had once worked briefly in mechanical repair before life forced him into survival jobs, and without even realizing it, he began fixing small parts of the vehicle during late nights. A tightened bolt here, a cleaned fuel line there, a replaced wire from discarded scraps. Slowly, the $100 car stopped behaving like junk. It started running smoother, almost like it was remembering what it once was meant to be. 5 days later, something extraordinary happened. A convoy of expensive black vehicles entered the same dusty neighborhood where people still laughed about Arman's joke car. The air changed instantly, like even the street understood something important was arriving. From one of the cars stepped a man few recognized at first, but everyone felt his presence. He was Victor Wren, a retired racing legend known across continents, a man who had built his life around speed, precision, and machines that spoke in horsepower and history. Victor wasn't there by accident. He had been searching for something rare for years, a forgotten engine model from a discontinued prototype series he had once helped test in his early career. A collector had traced it to this neighborhood, hidden inside what everyone assumed was a worthless $100 car. When Victor finally stood in front of Arman's vehicle, the world seemed to pause. He knelt slightly, running his fingers across the hood like it was a relic, not scrap metal. The crowd that once mocked now watched in confusion. The same people who laughed days earlier now couldn't understand why a man like him would even look twice at something so broken. Then came the truth that shattered everything they thought they knew. That old car wasn't just old. It was one of the last surviving experimental chassis built with a rare engine block used in early racing innovation, discontinued after corporate disputes and hidden away, thought lost forever. What everyone saw as rust, Victor saw as history. What everyone called junk, he called irreplaceable. Offers began immediately. People expected a few thousand, maybe a few tens of thousands. But when Victor Wren finally spoke, the number silenced the entire street. $5 million. For a $100 car that had been mocked, filmed, and laughed at just days ago. Armand stood frozen, unable to process the reality unfolding in front of him. The same hands that had been rejected by society now held a document worth more money than he could ever imagine in a lifetime. But what shook him more than the money was Victor's next words. The legend didn't just want the car. He wanted Armand to help him restore it. Because the man who had fixed it unknowingly in the shadows had already proven something machines always respect: understanding. Serena Kahlo, who had once laughed the loudest, stood silent now, her camera lowered for the first time. The internet clips that once ridiculed Armand were suddenly buried under new headlines. Not of shame, but of disbelief. The single father who was mocked for chasing survival had accidentally become part of racing history. And yet, Armand didn't feel rich in that moment. He looked at Inia, who held his hand tightly, and saw something far more valuable than millions. Respect. Stability. A future that no longer trembled under uncertainty. Before the story ends, here is a special request: take a moment to comment what you felt in your heart after hearing this journey. Your words matter more than you think. And if this story touched you even slightly, don't forget to engage with this video, because stories like this deserve to be seen, shared, and remembered.